Hello Baskers, I'm Joe Petolino, your database manager, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about our trip planner, one of the cool features on our website. So if you go to our homepage, www.bask.org, you'll see a link here for Trip Planner. Click on that. And in a few seconds you'll see a Google map will appear. The general layout here is that we have a map of the Bay Area on the left side with little push pins in for various features. We have tide predictions, current predictions, kayak access points, destinations, and interesting places to paddle to. And these green ones here show you where our meeting places are. Over on the right side, we have this tabbed interface where you get access to various kinds of information. Right here we have a tide table, which has both a graph and a text table of tides at the given marker. The marker that's selected right now has a little red star under it. Okay, so we see that this comes up with the current predictions for the San Francisco Bay entrance out by Point Diablo. The other tabs are a weather prediction, where here we have the NOAA marine forecast for that area. The detail tab gives you more detailed information about that particular tide station. We can get directions, driving directions. A search tab where we can search for a given point on the map by name, or we can actually search for tide conditions. If we say we're looking for a particular low tide sometime in the future, we can find it here. We have a measure tab where you can actually measure a track on the map, so you can tell how far your paddle was. And lastly, we have a help tab where we have information about how to use all this stuff. First, we need to give some credit to the originator of this map thing. It was written by a guy named Dan Barrett at Wake, the Whatcom Association of Kayak Enthusiasts up in Washington. If you look on their website here, you'll see something that looks very much like our trip planner, and this is actually what we used as the base for our code. Dortaman, our webmaster, noticed this and asked him if we could take it and alter it for our own usage. There's a picture of Dorta there, and the two of us took it and added some nice features and made it specific to BASK. For this demo, I'm using a fairly small window, and that means that we don't have very much screen area for this display part. There is a way that I can reclaim a little bit of the screen area. You see there's a bar of photos up here, and then there's a legal disclaimer at the bottom. I can just hide that with this little hide link in the lower right corner. And now I get more area to work with. You probably are all familiar with Google Maps. You can just drag it to move things around. The marker types here are actually dynamic. You can turn them on and off. So suppose I was interested in only looking at the put-ins and I didn't want the clutter of all that other stuff, I could do that. Another neat feature we've got on here is aerial photographs. If you look over here, press this button down here, and this green balloon pops up. Let's zoom in so we can see that a bit better. And what that is, that's a location along the California Coastal Records Project. There's a guy who owns a helicopter, and he flew the entire coast of California, taking photos of the coastline and put them all on his website. And we're linked into that. So right now this green balloon is showing us a view of Point Diablo, and I can move along the coast by clicking these little arrowheads. If I click the double one, it moves faster. Over there, closer to Point Bonita, there's Point Bonita. And if you click on the thumbnail, it'll open up the Coastal Records Project in a new window, so you can zoom in and get a closer look. So that's a great feature for checking out a beach. Another thing you can do is just pick up the green balloon and drop it somewhere else. So let's get a look at Muir Beach here. It just bounces into place and shows you what's close by there. And then one other thing, in this lower right corner of the Google map, you have this overview map. It's this kind of a miniature version of the bigger map, and you could move around in it by grabbing this blue window. So like if I want to zoom over to Point Reyes, there we are, and then I can zoom back down to Monterey pretty quickly. Whoops. Yeah. Well, here, let's go to Santa Cruz. But if you want more area on your map, you can get rid of that just by clicking on the little arrow in the corner. Okay, let's go back to the Tides tab. And let's go back to the Bay Area just by clicking on one of these names. Also on the Tide tab, you notice that we can navigate through time. I can go back a day, forward a day. I can go backwards and forwards by an entire week at a time. See, now I'm showing Friday, July 30th, and now August the 6th, which was yesterday. And there's we can go to today. Now I've got another interesting, useful button here called Next Weekend. That's bring whatever day I'm at, it brings me to the next coming up weekend. And I see right now, Saturday, August 7th, I've got one event on the BASK calendar. Well, that's nice to know, but what is that event? Well, this is you notice we're on the public section of the website here. There's no members in that URL. However, and that's a requirement of using the Google Maps. We're not allowed to put it on a password-protected website. However, I can put some of this other information on a members-only site. So if we click on this, either click on this, or if we unhide the top bar, there's a login link there. Click on that, and it will actually log me into the members-only site. Now instead of saying one event, it actually tells me what that event is. Let's hide this stuff again. Alright, so we've got a new member paddle on Saturday, August 7th at Corkscrew Slough in the South Bay. That's near home for me. Let's see what that looks like. Click on it, and it brings up the BASK calendar. And the way the calendar works is you mouse over the event that you're interested in seeing. Okay, 10 a.m. from Redwood City Municipal Wharf. Let's get more about that. Off of Chesapeake Street, Mark Silowitz. Thanks for initiating that, Mark. First thing I want to look at is what are the tides doing that day? I know. Well, actually, I'm not showing the tides for that. I'm showing tides for Bay Entrance. But let's go over to the search tab and search for that location. Corkscrew Slough. Corkscrew should be enough to find it. Alright, so here I've got a tide marker right there. This gives the tide height at somewhere near Corkscrew Slough. Now some of these markers are a little bit off. We got them from a database that I found online, and they don't quite line up with the map, but that's close enough to know approximately what tides you're measuring. And if I go back to the Tide tab, okay, we see we have, let's zoom in for an hourly report on the August 7th. And you see that at 7 in the morning, the tide's pretty low. I wouldn't want to paddle in the sloughs then, but the paddle doesn't leave until 10 o'clock, which is right here. And you see that that's 4.6 feet. That's quite high. That's probably going to be okay for us. And you see we have a minimum up here. That's at 5 o'clock approximately. And it's still 3 feet. So I think we're okay on tides that day. The other thing I need to know is how do I get there? How do I get to the put-in? And the put-in wasn't called Corkscrew Slough. It was called Redwood City Municipal Pier, something like that. Let's search for Redwood City. Municipal Marina, that's it. And that's a yellow put-in marker, so let's go there. And that's right there, close to where that tide station was. So let me get directions to there. Directions tab. Notice that since I'm logged in, it knows where I live, and it gets out of the membership database. And let's get directions from my home to that destination. Okay, it'll take me about 17 minutes to get there. I think I can manage to leave the house in time to get there at 10 in the morning. Okay, another thing I might want to know is what's the weather going to be like that day. Back to the tide tab, we see a prediction for August 7th, and it is August 7th today when I'm making this video. They're predicting winds 15 to 25 knots. Well, that might be a little bit too much wind for me to paddle in. Let's get the details on that. This is for the entire Suisun Bay and San Pablo, San Francisco bays. So conditions might be a little bit different locally in Redwood City. Let's click on the Weather Underground link, and I see for Saturday, if I take the hourly report for predictions for Saturday, I see that winds are not going to get above 8 miles per hour from the west. So I think we'll be okay on weather that day. Let's see, what kind of facilities do we have at Redwood City? Launch site Redwood City Marina. It says it's a good launch location for the sloughs. There is parking and there are restrooms. Okay, that sounds good to me. Let's take a look and see what those facilities look like. Switch to satellite view. We've got a nice aerial photo of the area. You can zoom way in. And you can see there's some nice floating docks to launch our kayaks from. And there's a grassy area to stage our boats. Nice parking lot near there. Actually, parking is here. These are the restrooms. Park along the street as well. So I think we're all set for this trip. Another thing we might want to know is how long is this paddle? How many miles do I have to go? Let's switch back over to the terrain view here and zoom out a little bit. So now I can see my entire route here. This is Bear Island. Switching to the Measure tab, I get a cursor which lets me, let's see, I can just click on points here like that. Let's make it just a rough track of our paddle. Okay, now I'm going to refine that. You notice there are little white squares along the track, and if I drag them into place, I'll be changing the track every time I create a new. Every time I click on one of the white squares in the middle, it actually gives me a new white square, so I can actually add points to it like so. Drag that one down over there, and this one down here, and I can get as close to reality as I want. I think that's close enough for now. So looking over here, it's telling me that the distance along that track is about 8.7 miles, and here we have it in metric and in nautical miles. So that sounds like a reasonable paddle for one day. Let's say that we did the paddle, we enjoyed it, we want to initiate our own paddle to this area sometime in the future. Let's see if we can find the suitable tide condition, because that's really what I'm worried about here. We've got to have enough water to float our boats. So we'll go back to the search tab, and okay, so now we're searching for tides at Redwood City, and let's say that in the next 3 months I want to do this paddle again, and I want to do it on a Wednesday. Let's suppose that I have the day off on Wednesday, and I want to do this paddle on a Wednesday, and I want to know. And I don't want to launch, say, before 9 a.m. And any time during daylight hours from 9 to 9 is okay with me. And I need a low tide that's at least 3 feet. Okay, so I'll put a 3 there, and let's just put a 9 there. No, it's not going to get that high. And let's search for it. And I see it comes up with 6 Wednesdays. Let's try the very next one. I'd like to do this right away. And August 18th, and there I see, there's my low tide at about 2:15 or so. What do we at 2 p.m. It's 2:17 is low tide, and it doesn't get much lower than 3.5 feet. So I think that's another day when I can do this paddle. Okay, so I think that's about it for the trip planner. I hope you've learned something from this video, and you'll be able to use it. If you have any questions, just write to me, email at database@bask.org. See you on the water.